First Date. I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina.
All right. So I've been on Reddit too much lately. I think it's a dark place for someone who, it's not a dark place, but for someone who doesn't like the comment section, that
Reddit
is all
is
that Reddit
the comment
is.
section.
Like Reddit is just the comment
100%.
section, you know, like, but I cannot.
You gotta be real careful. You tiptoe into some weird spaces.
I fully blame Real Housewives for this because
yes.
I have to get on Reddit to see
what other people are saying about like yeah.
And because of that, that's how they get me. And then I'll be on Reddit because I'm like looking for a Real Housewives thing and some headline, I'll be like, well, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And that's what got me on this one. So this was like a dating subreddit and it was like, I need advice. And the headline or the subject line is, my sister-in-law asked me out.
Ooh. No, that is.
I'm sorry.
No.
What?
So it's kind of long, so I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to break it down for you. And I'm curious to hear your feelings on this because me and myself, I was surprised by some of the responses in the Reddit.
Okay.
So this guy, he's 34. He lost his wife like 2 years ago. Unfortunately, she passed away young. And
32. Oof.
And they had a young child together.
Oh my gosh.
And so he found himself a widower at like 32. And his sister-in-law, she kind of moved in to help take care of the kid, like at the time.
Okay.
Basically moved into the house and was like very, very helpful, you know, at that time, you know, they got close, the kid got close with the sister-in-law, but nothing really happened. She eventually ended up moving out because he got into a serious relationship and obviously it would be weird. So when that relationship ended, he still had a good relationship with his in-laws and his sister-in-law, and he wanted to go on a cruise with them. So he went on like a family cruise with his in-laws and his sister-in-law. And he says that at the cruise day, the grandparents were like, we're going to take the kid because we want like some grandparent time. You guys go ahead and go out and have like fun time, like do adult things.
Yeah.
Adult things.
Okay. All right.
Not weird yet.
So they spend the day like just hanging out together. At the end of the night, they end up at like one of those cruise line clubs. Cassie and I are familiar. We've been together to a cruise line club. And
yes, we have.
He says that at the end of the night, they share a slow dance. And I'm like, And then whenever he goes to take her to her room, she, in his words, very passionately kisses him and tells, like, because she, I guess, had been making jokes all day that they were on a date. I was like, oh, this is kind of like a date or whatever. And so she tells him, I would love to go on a real date. I've already talked to my parents about it.
Oh.
So they were in on it from the jump.
I see. Yeah, I kind of felt like that. Okay.
I didn't want to believe that could be true.
Yeah.
But
so I've already talked to my parents about it because I want to be respectful because you were my sister's husband.
Right.
But I would love to go on a real date. So take some time to think about it and let me know whenever you're ready. So he's asking Reddit, is this something that I should pursue or not?
Well, I'm of a couple of minds about this.
Same.
I have a lot of things. I feel like losing your sister, losing your wife so young is so traumatic. And so unbelievably unimaginable. Now that you've kind of summarized it, my first gut response was yuckity, yuck, yuck, yuck. That was my first gut response. But now that I'm sitting on it, I actually...
And hearing this story.
Hearing the whole story. And she's like, helped out with the kid and then was respectful when he got into a different relationship, like got out of the way and let him pursue the thing. Maybe grief does weird things to you. So, you know, maybe during that time she was taking care of the kid, she was like, wow, Tim is a really solid guy. I don't hate it at the end of it. I have to say, I actually am like, if there's desire on his part and on her part, and the fact that she talked to the parents, like, hey, I'm having feelings for this. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And the parents are like, talked it out. And it just feels respectful to me.
It does.
And I don't hate it.
Agree.
Same.
However, first of all, I just don't think it's something that I could ever do. Like, I even if there were feelings there, I really don't think that I could ever sleep with, let alone be in a relationship with my sibling's spouse.
Yeah. I'm like, not me.
It's a family stone situation that I want no part of. So there's that. Secondly, my concern would be if things don't work out with the sister.
Yeah.
Now, because right now you got a good thing going.
That is a good point.
Yeah, you got a good thing going on. You've got a good relationship with the sister. You've got a good relationship with the parents. Your daughter has a good relationship with all of them. Mm-hmm. If it ends badly, is that going to change
You're
the
inviting
dynamic?
a lot of like comparisons too.
100.
In the same way that like humans, we're prone to comparison anyways. It's a big part of how our decision making works. And I think it's even more exacerbated when you're talking about like dating a sibling. You're like, you know what I mean? Like you can't help but there are probably some familial resemblance.
Yes. I mean, and like I saw people in the comments who were saying, well, she would have wanted both of you to be happy. This is maybe what she would have wanted for you guys. And
I think you got to take that out of it entirely. You can't think on it in that way at all.
You can't know that because if it was me, I'll tell you what, I don't even consider myself a highly jealous person, but I'm like, if I can see you from the other side, I'm pissed.
I would prefer my man to move on with a stranger.
Agreed.
Yes.
Like I want you to be.
I want you to move on.
I do want you both to be happy,
but not with anybody that I would have known. You know, like
or especially not a sibling.
I don't want it to be somebody I've known, right? Yeah. Like I think it's hard for me because my sister is so much older than me. And which
I only have brothers, so I also maybe can't relate in the same way.
Yeah, it's weird. I am also torn because I also see Christina's point of view where it's like I agree. Like I think that if there's something there, don't deny yourself.
Weirder things have happened.
It's not like you were cheating on your
100%
dying wife with her sister.
Yeah,
which is a different scenario.
A totally different scenario. But it does open up, and I'm not saying that this is the case, but be prepared if you're going to go down this road to battle people's judgments, opinions, and speculation about was she harboring feelings for him this whole time? Like, did she have a crush on him the whole time he was married to his wife? Like, not saying that that's the case. I'm just saying you need to be prepared for people to think that that's a possibility. Sure. You're going to have hurdles in your relationship. Yes, but she did move in. She did move in fairly quickly.
She moved out as well.
Yeah,
and also, again, like you said, he pursued a different relationship. Mm-hmm. I mean,
I don't hate it. I think like weirder things have happened. Yeah. I think as far as these kinds of things go, it's as respectful as it could be.
Right.
Truly. And it works out great.
You brought up the part I didn't think of at all. It's like what happens when it, or if, not when, but if and when it doesn't work out, then, there's a lot of collateral damage.
Potentially. Maybe it ends and it's still really amicable and they're just like, well, we tried it. It didn't work. And we can just go right back to how it was. But I think the deeper feelings get, just the more you open it up for something, anything to potentially like go awry.
I'm also not one to comment on people's grief timelines.
Yeah. 100.
But 2 years is
fast to me.
It seems short. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. I think
okay.
But that everyone is different. Everybody is different, and everybody processes grief differently.
It depends on. Yeah, I mean, of course, was she really sick for a long time? Was there? There's a lot of variables there that we can't count her in.
Yeah, we talked about this a few episodes ago as well, where it's just like everyone deals with it differently. Like sometimes people need to get right back out there right away, and like that's something that helps them process stuff. And sometimes people need like a mourning period of like absolutely nothing, completely processing on my own. So, I mean, everyone is different. I think for me, 2 years with a sibling would be fast. 2 years with a stranger, like somebody that you met kind of like naturally in life.
That's different.
It feels different.
You're right. You're right.
To me, it feels different.
I agree with that. It's the fact that it's somebody that also is in their
grief.
Yeah.
You got two grieving people.
Yeah. But again, 2 years, and also he has explored another relationship in between.
And so is she. He did clarify that. She has had, dates and boyfriends since in
between as well.
Right. So like, yeah, I mean, it's not the worst thing. If they want to pursue it, more power to them. It's just for me, I think I would never, if I was the sister, even if I had feelings for him. Oh, I mean, if I was the younger sister.
Oh, okay. I was like, no.
Even if I had feelings for my late sister's husband, I don't think I could ever act on them because I don't think I could ever get out of my head.
Right.
I think I would always be thinking about her. It would be like a constant reminder. And like, I just don't think I could get
we've
past
ever talked about like dating somebody whose significant other has passed, like in general.
Well, my dad passed away whenever I was little, and my mom did start dating pretty quickly. She got with my stepdad a year later. And they were like moving to a different state together about a year later. So fast.
Yeah.
And, he's younger than her. He was in his early 20s when he got with my mom, and it was very, very difficult for him. It was difficult for them both because I don't think he had enough real maturity to process what she was going through. And I think that he had some jealousy, despite the fact that my dad was gone. It's not like it was a relationship that my mom walked away from. It was a person she loved who died, and having to be the other person who has to come in, knowing that she really loved, like it wasn't
with
her,
the ghost.
and it wasn't her choice to leave that relationship.
Right.
So like she would still be with him if he hadn't died, and I think that was difficult. And I think that there were things that happened that were detrimental to all of us, especially to me and my brother. I mean, he didn't want my dad's pictures in the house. Ooh. So like we had, and I love my dad. I'm not judging.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing.
No.
You're
just speaking your truth.
Yeah, it's
this is not
process.
about judging anyone. Yeah.
Yeah. And for him, he was young. He didn't know how to process that. And so I think, I don't know. There's no guidebook on how to do that.
There isn't.
I don't. Yeah. I think I went on a lot of divorced dads dates, which is so funny. Ali Wong actually has a new special. She has a joke about, she's like, I only want to date like divorced dads, someone that's been pre-yelled at. Which is like fucking amazing. But I don't know if enough time had passed, like if it had been like 4 or 5 years or something like that, like of course I would consider going to meet and go on a date with somebody who was widowed. But I think it'd be really difficult if it was like 1 or 2 years later. I think that would be really hard because it still feels fresh. And also if there's children involved.
Yeah. And so, going back to that story, I can also understand that. Like maybe for him, this is like a very safe option.
Right.
Because it's like you don't have to Get someone who doesn't get it, doesn't understand it. You don't have to run the risk of introducing someone new to your kid.
Right.
Like this
That's
is
right.
it's a very, so in that respect, I'm like, okay, well, I get that. I get that. If there's attraction there anyway, and dealing with losing a spouse is hard enough, and then navigating dating as a widower, like I get it, I guess. You know what? I'm turned around.
I know.
She
hard,
as far
hard
as
combo.
that's concerned too, is the one who's pursuing it. So in the regards of like feeling maybe jealous of the ex or jealous of, or not ex, I guess, but the prior spouse, like doesn't feel like something that maybe something she's already dealt with and or understands in a way that somebody who's a stranger might not.
Right.
I don't know.
You know what? I'm rooting for them.
Yeah.
We turned it around. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Hey, listeners, if you have any insight on, what it is to date a widowed person, I would like to learn more about
as a widowed person.
Or as a widowed person, right? Yeah, especially, God, so young too.
Yeah.
And so was your mom. She was young
My
too.
mom was 25.
Yes.
So
babies.
With 2 children, 3 and under.
Babies.
So yeah, like
25.
yeah, difficult. It was just difficult.
I truly can't imagine.
Yeah.
I think about my mom being like in her early 20s with 3 kids. And I remember myself in my early 20s and I'm like,
I know.
How? Literally. I'm
Literally
looking
how?
at the yellow leaves on my Monstera right now being like, how do people keep kids alive?
honestly.
Jesus Christ. Like I don't know. I
Cassie,
still feel
I'm
like a
kind of
baby.
in awe.
Truly.
You
Yeah.
just do it. You know what I mean? You just do it. I mean, the good news is that like for me, fortunately, like I didn't lose Keith in a way that was like he didn't pass away.
Right.
So I didn't lose Dylan's father. So I always had Dylan's father, and Dylan's
You had a
always
great co-parenting relationship as well.
I did.
You
Yeah, we
were
did.
really lucky in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't like the best of friends in the world, but like we had a great co-parenting thing. And I mean, there's, like we don't have that kind of like, there's no animosity. There's no weirdness. We were very lucky to have, good step parents involved as well. So it's always been a really
Blessing.
positive. It has, honestly.
Yeah.
And, I guess too, and I've said this before on the podcast, like I kind of just was like, how can it hurt to have more people love your
I
kid?
agree
Oh,
entirely. Yeah.
Like, it does take a village to raise, a child.
Well,
and
especially
there was
now
times-
with the conversation of like blended families being like a national conversation of like, validating step parents are still parents. They're still helping.
right.
100%. I mean, listen,
God.
my
Totally.
my relationship to my stepdad, do I think it would be, because he's been very open with me about like the struggles of being a step parent. And I believe that there's real struggles there that are unique to being a step parent, that are different from it being your biological child, And, but regardless of that, like, do I think that my relationship maybe would be different if I had had like a significant relationship with a biological father? Maybe. But
you don't know what you don't know.
you don't know what you don't know. And
Right.
at the end of the day, I have two dads.
Yeah.
And that's the
Yeah.
truth of it. I have my dad, my biological dad, who I will never not see as my dad. And I have my stepdad, who is my dad. Like that is
Yeah.
the person who raised me.
Raised you.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
picked me up from school and helped me with school projects. And like, that's my dad.
Yeah.
So
Who you peed down his back or something? Is that the story?
It's not my story, but
He told me the story. I can't remember if you
did he?
puked on him
Could've-
or if you
yeah,
peed.
that sounds like a story he would tell.
Yeah.
I don't
At your-
remember it.
Of course. I think this is like he was talking about like one of the first times, like
Probably,
that he-
as a toddler. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very possible.
And-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not recently.
I-
It wasn't a recent.
I'd hope I would remember
Last
that.
year.
Yeah, I have a good experience with the quote unquote step parent too, and that like my dad is my dad, and
Yeah.
that again, he raised me, was there for me, and like that was my dad. So I just think blended families and however you want to structure, like exactly what you said, Cassie, like what is wrong with more people loving your kids?
Absolutely. I just, I was adopted. So maybe that it was.
Yeah, we have very unique family perspectives. All three of us, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I always really came from that perspective of just having this like idea that like, family is very created. Sometimes it's not about birth or blood or things like that in so many ways. So yeah, I mean, and maybe that was part of my like understanding with how I thought about raising Dylan and our relationship with Keith. Yeah, no, listen, Keith and I were never meant to be together, but like fundamentally we are not probably compatible in any sort of way or fashion, which I think too was smart on both of our parts, knowing very early on that we weren't
as young
meant to
as
be together.
You both were.
Right.
That's so impressive that you guys were both like, hey man,
you want to shake hands and call this
right. Yeah.
Like the funny thing is he did when I remember when I told him I was pregnant, he was like, so should we get married? I'm like, ew, no, like absolutely not. Like what or why would we do that?
Like, I don't like you like that. No offense.
No, but I think that because we never had that like real deep, like, I don't know, intimate, deep relationship or marriage or anything to complicate it. We didn't, we never complicate it with beyond what it was. It was what it was. We never complicated it further. So I think also too that helped,
right? Like
with Mandy, like as his stepmom, early on, there was no reason to ever have any animosity toward me because we weren't really ever truly a couple, quote unquote.
Right.
And then like with Chris meeting Keith, same thing. It's just like, oh, this is just Dylan's dad. It's not my ex. That also has another layer to it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. Good conversation, everybody.
Yeah. But really, I think that the point here, the big picture is relationships and families can look all sorts of different ways.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And people are going to have opinions about it no matter what.
That's exactly right.
Yep. I'm sure people judged my mom for quote unquote moving on too quickly. And, I think I think there's going to be judgments no matter what you decide to do, period, ever in your life. So you know what? Go for your brother-in-law. That's fine.
Listen, that's short.
That's the official stance of this podcast.
Yep. Date your brother.
Yeah. Life is short.
Life is short. Oh my God.
Oh no.
Well, it is the last of the spooky season, guys. We have one more already. FMK for spooky season. And I think we decided we want to do spooky actors.
Yeah.
Like for this
horror guys.
For this round.
Yeah. Because you were telling us in the last episode that Eric very thoughtfully made you a horror movie list that you could stomach.
Yep.
Not Terrifier 3.
Correct.
And so you watched the It movies.
Yes.
For the first time.
Yes.
So I'm definitely gonna, because I cannot help it. I think there might be something wrong with me because a lot of the people that I was looking at when I was looking at spooky, creepy actors, I'm like, they're hot. They're all hot.
They all have unique features. They stand out. They're not like cookie cutter. They're interesting people with interesting features.
And Bill Skaarsgard is hot to me.
All right.
So I'm definitely gonna go with him. He was also in Barbarian, so he's got a few horror movies, and he's gonna be in Nosferatu, which is coming out in December. He's gonna play the vampire in Nosferatu, I think.
Interesting.
So he's got a good thing going.
Yeah.
Here with the
he was terrifying as that clown.
He was perfect, wasn't he? He was a great casting.
How you doing?
And you wouldn't think it would get scarier than Tim Curry, to be honest.
But it really is.
Tim Curry was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ugh.
he made it his own. That was the thing because I have seen the original one with Tim Curry. And Tim Curry's like, oh gosh, terrifying. But I actually think Bill Skarsgård was scarier. And I like that he made it his own.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I liked it.
I'm glad I haven't watched the new ones.
Yeah,
then,
it's
I don't want to
really
be scarier
scary.
than
First of all, if there's ever a horror movie trope that is scarier than this, I don't know of one. But if there is an old person in the background doing weird jerky movements without clothes on,
no, not interested.
I'm like, I'm out. I took my skin off and I melted into the couch.
Maybe that's part of why I like exorcism horror, because like I find that so unsettling. Like when you're watching The Exorcist and she's like backwards crab walking down the stairs and you're like,
no.
Jerky movements like that. No, thank you.
Yep.
It's not for me.
All right. You know what? Oh, this is tough to pick somebody. I think I was going to you know what? I'm going to pick Anthony Hopkins.
All right.
Tony Hopkins.
Okay.
His portrayal, because it makes me think of
your good friend Sir Tony,
my good friend T.
Good friend of the pod.
He's friend of the pod, of course. Oh no, because I watched 1 Hour Photo and
Robin Williams
simultaneously looks really kind of attractive in the face, but is also so terrifying in that movie.
Is his hair blonde in that movie?
Yes.
Yeah. Something about that is always just like maybe Cassie can attest to this, but it's just like when a man like buzzes his hair short and like shouldn't be platinum blonde, but does it anyway. There is a weird unsettling feeling to that.
Yeah.
No, Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo is so good and so scary.
Yeah.
So scary.
Terrifying.
We'll have to do that for a Tainted Love.
Yeah, truly.
I am going to, and I think this really shows you the level of scare that I'm at in my life. I'm going to choose Penn Badgely from Notoriously from You.
Love it.
Yeah.
And we're doing the actors.
Yeah,
that's
scary enough for me. I don't think it's necessarily, it's definitely not like scary horror.
No, but it's definitely like a thriller.
It's thriller scary. Yeah.
That's right.
I'll tell you one thing I don't want.
You get a point. You get a star, Cassie.
Yeah, I don't want to be locked in a plexiglass cage in someone's basement. I'll tell you that much. So
that's terrifying.
It ain't for me.
That's horror to me.
It is scary. He's scary. Okay.
Scary man. Yeah. I know what I'm going to do, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am, because we've done Anthony Hopkins before, and I do believe I married him. So I do feel like I've checked that off my list.
Already been there, done that.
Been there, done that. I'm going to marry Penn Badgely.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that there's something kind of laid back about him, but also he doesn't take himself too seriously either. He got famous on TikTok a few years ago for doing TikTok dances and just kind of goofing off. And I like that. And it just seems like easygoing. I don't know where he lives, but I'm getting a New York vibe. And I feel like,
totally.
We're just going to wear sweaters and get coffee. And that sounds nice.
I did look up his sign. I don't know if you guys did for yours.
I have not yet.
Okay. I'll wait until the end to tell you.
Okay. I'm going to fuck Bill Skaarsgard. I'm going to climb him like a fucking tree. Because he's tall as hell.
He is tall as hell.
And, well, speaking of brother-in-laws.
I know. I was just gonna say,
you got
in a
bad situation.
A trove of Vikings,
of beautiful Nordic men to choose from. Yeah,
the Skarsgård Thanksgiving dinner, I would be a mess.
Yeah. Things are. I'm a little squirmy at that dinner for sure.
Oh no.
Yeah, there's something just like dark and sexy about him.
He is
to me.
really sexy.
So and in the interest of Halloween horror movies and giving that one person what they want, I'm so sorry. I will go ahead and kill Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I am going to I'm going to do the same thing. I think I'm going to marry Penn Badgely. Oh man, I don't know, because now I know his sign.
Oh, this is why we shouldn't look.
I know.
We shouldn't look until after.
All right. I'm going to marry Bill Skaarsgard. I'm going to take the chance.
Okay.
I don't know what a sign is.
I do. I just looked it up.
Take the chance. I'm going to marry Bill Skaarsgard. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, who are you gonna fuck? I guess Penn Badgely.
Listen, I gotta be
or
honest
Anthony
with you.
Hopkins. Listen, I could be surprised.
Listen, I am gonna fuck Penn Badgely because I also know his sign.
Oh no, I'm getting nervous.
Fuck Penn Badgely. It's gonna be bad and good and bad but good. It's gonna be great, and I'm gonna hate myself.
Sometimes that's good. Sometimes hating
it's
yourself a little bit is like
it's hate sex.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
Okay.
And it's going to be spicy. And then listen again, Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Love him, truly love him. No, it's not personal.
Truly, listen. So scary. Honestly, too scary.
Silence of the Lambs, and when he is.
I know.
So
I can't
scary.
separate it.
It's one of my comfort movies.
I cannot separate it. I think that I watched
Silence of the Lambs.
I think I watched Silence of the Lambs at a point that like it won't ever melt out of my brain.
Yeah.
It's such a permanent part of my
It's really
that I can't separate him from his character.
I'm surprised we didn't do Nicolas Cage.
Oh, Nick Cage.
Long legs.
I forgot.
I think about that song at least once a day.
My God.
I really
what
do.
a wacky ride that was. Ooh. There are no good options for me.
Do you know did you look at all their signs?
Yes, I did.
You did. Okay.
I had a Leo, a Cap, and a Scorpio. That's
I think the Scorpio is best for you, if I'm honest.
probably.
I think you could handle a
Water
Scorpio.
sign.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Bad for me. A Pisces and a Scorpio should never. But I made my choice. So
Yep.
we're here. We're here now. So
Yeah, I think it probably makes the most sense with the sign, but I
Go with
think
your
I'm gonna
heart. Go with your
I'm gonna
heart.
go with my heart. I'm gonna marry Anthony Hopkins.
I love that. I do.
I'm a
So
homebody. I want to live in the English countryside.
Yeah.
We should let our listeners
This
know.
is your
'cause
dream come true.
We did not say. So Penn Badgely is a Scorpio. Bill Skaarsgard is a Leo, day after my mom's birthday, and
no.
Anthony Hopkins is a Capricorn.
So I think there will be a lot of comfortable silences in our house.
Companionable.
A lot of reading different books side by side.
You're gonna go
talk
days
or
without
not
seeing each
talk
other
for hours.
Yeah.
Couch blankets.
Yeah. I
Walks
feel like-
through the heathers.
I feel like you could have. It could be like a when you're watching The Crown and they have like rooms on the other side of the hall.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And it's actually it just feels very comfortable to me.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a couch blanket.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anthony Hopkins is your weighted blanket.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah. That's where my heart is. And then honestly, yeah, I'm fucking the Skarsgård.
Gotta do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
have to know.
Yeah.
Gotta know. I actually
Come on.
love that
You
he's
gotta
a Leo.
know.
He's a Leo with dark energy.
Real dark
Which
Leo
is like-
energy.
Fascinating
That
to
is
me.
gonna
It's like a
be-
dark fire.
That's going to be tough.
It is going to be tough. I'm not gonna lie.
That was maybe not one of my smartest
I actually
decisions.
think you you fuck it like Aries and Scorpio in bed. I bet is great.
Yeah, burn the sheets.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Oil and water, like fire, gasoline.
Yeah.
I mean, it's yeah.
It's gonna be great.
But
I'm not sure any of us made great choices. I think
No.
Christina made the best choice, but
well, she came in informed, and
Yes.
and we should have as well.
And that's
Not
what.
true, she cheated.
Listen, do your research is another piece of advice in the podcast. Get all the information you can before
Yeah.
making a decision.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Noted.
gosh, this is a long top. Sorry.
Yeah,
everybody.
no, it's all
Anyway,
good. Well, let's take 5 and then we'll come back with stories.
Sounds good.
and we're back. Okay, so this one's a little bit unusual as far as stories go on our show. But this person wants to know what happened, like what went wrong.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So she says,
Should we buzz in?
yeah, buzz in. She says, I, 25 female, matched a guy, 25 male, on a dating app. He was based in a different city, but his location was close to mine. We instantly hit it off, even though we were from different cities. They both have their buzzers ready. We were planning to fly down to see each other.
Yeah.
Already, red flag.
Stay away from the airports on first dates. Thanks.
Christina knows.
Yeah. As someone speaking from experience.
Yeah. Also, do they have an ankle monitor?
Yeah.
Oh, because that's going to inform
that
something.
Don't listen to me when you're dating. That is the advice here.
Okay. All right.
We'll never get over that. Okay.
We'll keep going.
He went to travel to Europe for a month, but he kept in constant touch, regular texting. When he did get back to the country, he said that he wanted to be the first one to come fly down and see me. I was very smitten with him. We lined up our work schedules and it finally happened. He was coming down for the weekend. He said that he was going to crash at a friend's place while he was going to stay in town. Cool.
So that's actually good because it takes the pressure off because they haven't met in person yet, right?
Yeah.
So here's one I will say kind of red flag. If you're going to date somebody that is kind of long, well, you're not even dating. You're texting back and forth with somebody. There's a lot of expectations at this point, I feel like, built up. Yeah. So it's actually very cool of him to not assume he's staying with her but to line up other sleeping arrangements. So far I'm like, okay, he's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We spent all of Saturday together. He was so much better than expected. Total gentleman. I didn't even lift a finger while we were together. Had the most incredible date. He planned everything. Made me feel super...
Love bombing.
I would have kept the day going, but he wanted to go out with his friends, which I was bummed about. But he promised we would go to a sundowner party on Sunday.
What's a sundowner party?
I have no idea, and I don't love it.
Sounds racist.
Sundowning has no positive connotations.
As far as I know, it doesn't.
Either dementia or racism. Those are the only two. So,
I don't love it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Don't love it. But they're going to go to that party on Sunday evening. He got reservations and everything sorted. Sunday morning, he's not answering my texts. I assume he might have been up late, and that's why. The reservations are at 5. I get a text from him around 4:30. So she hasn't heard from him all day. Right.
Yeah.
I was pissed. I went out with my best friend and wanted to spend the day with her. She said I should still go and see this guy and see what he has to say. So I agree, and I get in a cab to see him. He then calls and says he won't be able to make it because his other friend was flying out of town and he really wanted to see him.
He wasn't into her. When he met
her, and
that's I'm buzzing in, and that's my.
That's why.
All right.
Final answer.
All right. There's more to the story, but I think you're absolutely right.
Okay.
So she says, I am shook. He says that he's sorry and that he'll make it up to me. I let it slide. Monday morning, I go back to work, and he had previously mentioned that he wanted to explore the side of town that my office was on. He asks when I get off. I say 6:30. He says, cool, he'll come pick me up. I get excited to see him again. It's 6:30. He's running a little late. I say, no worries. I'll wait by a cafe near my office and grab us some coffee. It's 7 o'clock. So they're supposed to meet at 6:30. It's 7 o'clock.
6:30.
I'm waiting at the cafe. I ask for an update. Nothing. I call him. He declines my calls. I'm up and ready to leave. He calls me back. He says, I'm not feeling too well. I got out of the cab and threw up. I haven't been feeling well all morning. I'm taken aback. I make sure is he preggers? Is he pregnant? I make sure that he's feeling better and ask him to take a cab home. He does. I ask him to share his location to make sure that he got home safe. He stops sharing location midway. So he starts sharing it and then he stops sharing it. Since he hasn't replied to any of my texts or calls.
She doesn't need to know where he's staying.
Well, I agree.
That's weird.
But also, what's this guy's issue? Because I'm with you, Christina. If he's not interested,
when he gets home.
Stop reaching out and saying, we'll meet tonight.
Exactly.
We'll meet later. Just say no. Just say you're not interested. If you don't want to share your location, don't share it and then turn it off. Just say, I don't want to share it. I'll tell you when I get home.
Like, so they met that first night, and then he like has continued. Now this is twice that he's like, oh yeah, I want to meet up with you again, and then just like dicks her around. Like, this is so fucked up of him. But yeah, honestly, like, I can see why she gave him another chance after being dicked around the first time. But after that second time, girl, block him.
Right.
Bye.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
Right. So long story short, he didn't reply to any more of her texts or calls after that. And he didn't block her or anything. He just stopped communicating. He was supposed to fly back on Tuesday. When she's writing this, it's Friday. And she hasn't heard from him. So she did say that he, I guess, did reach out, and she just didn't reply.
Good.
Which is what I would do. But she's asking, like, what happened? Because they had a good rapport. They met. She thought things went really, really well. And then he dicked her around for several days.
He wasn't
He's just
into
not
it.
there. Yeah. He's not there.
Yeah.
But that is so fucked up. Like, because I was with you, but I was also just like, well, why is he continuing to make plans?
A 25-year-old boy and a fucking asshole.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
because
just
like
a
if you were gonna ghost, just straight up ghost. Don't keep reaching out.
Immature.
Honestly, story of my 20s, because I think that was more prevalent. I almost respect ghosting
More than that.
what it was like when I was in my 20s,
Yeah.
because I just felt
It's a
like
lot
that
of
was the thing that kept happening.
flakiness.
You'd be like,
And then you're trying. It's a story of my 20s too, because then you're like, oh, like you're being strung along, and you're trying. You're like, oh, what about this? Or we could do this.
Don't make me plan my day around you.
No,
do not make me do that, because like I have one of those brains that I'm like, if I have something to do that day, like I am fixated on that thing. Like I plan my whole day around that thing that I have to do. And don't give me that added like pressure on my life if
it's annoying,
if it's not going to happen. Just like straight up say, hey, you know, the chemistry wasn't there in person.
Right.
I think that you're great, but it's not going to work for me. And
or just completely ghost and whatever, I guess. But I mean, I don't like ghosting either, but at the same time,
if you have to pick one or the other, ghosting, if you literally cannot handle the barest minimum of confrontation that it takes to send a fucking text message, then ghosting is better than this.
Yeah.
Stringing me along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that.
Perfect.
Woof. All right. So 3 days ago, I finally found the courage to ask out a guy I thought was really cute, and he said yes. So I was really excited. I wanted to keep things low key and just get to know him while having a drink with him. So that's what we decided on. Yesterday, we had our date. Right after I got off from work, I met him at the parking lot. But instead of getting out of the car, he told me to get in. I didn't really feel comfortable with that, since he's still a stranger at that point.
Also, that's weird.
You're meeting in a parking lot?
And I'm also get out of the
she
car
got off
to
work,
greet
so I'm
me.
assuming that it was like maybe her work parking lot, or
maybe.
like maybe something like that. I don't know.
But I don't know. Maybe
Unclear.
this is like old school or something. But I'm just like, if we're meeting for a date, get out of your car.
Get out of your car.
Right? Just like greet me. Like, I don't know. When we can get in the car together, like a little hug. Yeah. So, like weird.
Exactly. It is weird. He's still a stranger at this point, and it took me too much convincing to finally get him to get out. He had a really weird look in his eyes, and I couldn't tell what it was until he asked me if it was cool with him, or if I was cool with him smoking weed. I had no idea how to respond.
Is he driving?
Of course I wasn't cool.
Oh, I don't love that.
Yeah, because like in general, am I cool with you smoking weed in your life? Yeah, do your thing. But like, I don't love you
Not if you're
driving me
around.
anywhere if you're
don't love
impaired
that
at all. Yeah, don't like that.
No.
So, wasn't cool with him doing that in my presence while we were on a date, but I couldn't tell him that. So he smoked 5 of those cigarettes.
Whoa.
That is definitely somebody who does not
smoke.
5
of those cigarette things.
cigarettes.
5 joints?
5 joints is, see,
that's too much.
And that's the other thing. Also, like I don't really care what you do, but like, if you need to smoke that badly, that you need to do it on and even if it's not that much, honestly, even if it was just like 1 joint, if you have to smoke that badly that you can't like hold it in until the end of this date,
Yikes.
that
Truly.
feels like you've got an issue. I don't like that.
Yeah. And he had already presumably smoked earlier before getting here. He was stoned as fuck. He asked if I wanted to drink something, and I said yes, thinking he wanted to go to a cafe and sit down. But no, he had meant alcohol in the back of his car.
I feel like this person is so innocent.
It's like, I would love a tea.
Yes.
I wonder if they have a nice mint.
Oh my
a mint
God.
tea.
This person is
That would just
innocent.
really hit the spot.
Oh wow.
Yeah, actually, it sounds great.
This
no,
is
I'm talking
the
about
wrong
alcohol
person.
in the back of
This
my
is the wrong
car.
person for this person to be on a date with. I mean, I wouldn't find any of this attractive either. Like getting super stoned and you want to like drink Sky vodka out of the bottle in the back of your fucking Ford Focus.
No.
Like
No.
I'm not into that. But this poor person is like aghast. Like
This is, yeah.
were you raised like
Sweet,
Amish
sweet
or something? Are you
summer
on
child.
Rumspringa right now?
Oh. He meant he had alcohol in the back of his car and wanted
course.
us to drink to, quote, loosen up.
Oh,
At
yeah.
this
You
point,
seem
honey,
real
you were-
loose, babe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You're
think
loose
you're
enough
pretty
for
loose.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, I was extremely uncomfortable around him and immediately refused. Normally during dates, I enjoy drinking a cocktail or something, but I was absolutely not having alcohol in his presence. By cocktail, she means Shirley Temple, of course.
I know. I was just going to say.
Sweetie.
Oh my gosh.
I love
A
her.
tall, maybe. She's feeling, frisky.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Lord.
When we finally got off the parking lot, he still didn't want to sit down somewhere cozy. Instead, he insisted on going somewhere with as few people as possible. Quote, you can trust me. I've never laid hands on a woman.
Oh my God. Never
You
say
think I'm
that.
kind of guy.
And she's like, I wasn't even thinking that, but I am now.
Now I am.
Oh no.
Oh, God.
Naturally, I responded, I don't know, because we just met. I did not to trust complete strangers right away. He was offended by that because he felt he didn't give off the, quote, vibe of the R word. And I should be able to tell that. This poor girl.
Wow. This guy's an asshole.
He's
This
clueless
guy's
and
a
an asshole.
total piece of shit.
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Also, his
It was
brain's
far-
probably not firing at 100
No.
Truly,
at this moment.
Yeah. Oh my God. He was far too stoned to hold a proper conversation. I'd be
That's
talking
such a
about
huge
my
turnoff.
family.
I have to say, like, as someone who like
Woof.
does not care about smoking at
Yeah.
all, like, I
Right.
really don't care about it. But when you are interacting, especially if you are sober and you are interacting with someone who is high out of their mind,
It gives me the ick, actually.
Yeah.
It gives me the biggest ick to be sober and interact
Yes.
with someone who is not.
who,
It
or
is-
like very like I
Yeah.
can interact with someone who's like drinking or whatever, or even had like a little bit to smoke. But if they're fucked up, it's
Yeah.
it's awful.
uncomfy.
like
It's
if you are
uncomfortable.
sober and dealing with
It's
someone who is fucked
uncomfortable.
up, it is
it's
horrible.
awful. And I think part of it, like, I really struggle, even if it's like sober and like had like a couple drinks. And I know part of it is my trauma in the past of being with somebody who
Sure.
was like Jekyll and Hyde
Yeah,
with
yeah.
alcohol. And so like I instantly, I think, get ick and get really, really like
Nervous.
defensive and
Yeah.
nervous. It's not a fun place
Your
to
hackles
be.
go up.
Yeah, big
Yeah.
time. Big time.
I'd be talking about my family and he'd completely derail the conversation by saying something completely random like, hey, do you wear a lot of pink clothes?
Oh my God.
That's a total.
See, I don't have such a high conversation. I don't have the energy. I fucking don't. Like,
I don't.
when shit starts going sideways like that, I literally am like, we are not talking anymore. Like, I don't even want to
What
talk.
are you talking about?
Do you wear a lot of pink clothes?
What?
What?
The Barbie movie
my
just come
mom's
out?
divorce.
This is great.
Okay.
Great first date
Talking about my mom's divorce. Like
Hey,
deep
do you-
childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Do you wear a lot of pink clothes? That's
Oh my God. I want to go home. I want to go home.
Yeah.
This is
He was
awful.
shouting at complete strangers walking by. I had to remind him 3 times what kind of job I have because he kept forgetting.
Oh God. Repeating myself is another trigger. I'm just
my
like,
God.
how many times are you going
I'm
to
just
ask
gonna
this
get
fucking
out
question?
here.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll take a cab.
He dumped all of his trauma on me and showed me pics of his exes. He wanted to discuss intimate topics like if I wanted to have children and if I was sexually active. At one point, he even asked me if I was, quote, playing with myself in bed. He completely ignored my boundaries when I told him I was highly uncomfortable with physical contact in general by taking my hand and then trying to hug me, saying, I'll get used to it
Oh,
if it's with the right person.
Oh,
Well, it ain't
not
you,
you.
babe.
It's not
you.
Also, yeah, that whole thing whenever like someone's really stoned and they're doing that, like they're trying to like be intimate, like hold your
Yeah.
hands and
And you're
look
just
deep
like-
into your eyes, and you're like, please get away from
I
me.
just
Like,
want to. Gross.
I couldn't stand being around him any longer than 2 hours, which was when I sent him
That's
back to his
plenty,
car
yeah.
and told him this wasn't going to work out. I think he was too stoned to be angry. I just watched him get back in his car before I made a run for my apartment. I'd never been so happy to get back home.
You
Oh,
know,
man.
last episode we talked about pretty privilege. We also need to talk about pretty handicap, because like she said that he's really, really good looking, and it's like you don't have to develop the same kind of like social skills. If you're really hot, you can just be completely clueless
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
things.
Totally.
Oh my goodness. Do you wear a lot of pink clothes?
You wear a lot of pink clothes?
Okay, guys, get ready. I'm not saying that. This person is saying
Oh.
that. So there we go.
The top of the story.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it.
It's spooky season. Tinder circa 2017-ish. Bro looks cute and nice, and we have a good conversation. So we decide to meet up for a movie. Get to his place. I know. Around sunset, and he
Love a
gives
self-aware
me,
queen.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. She's like, I
It
learned.
was a mistake. I get it.
We get it. We all do it. He gives me a tour of his house. He says, let's go up to the mountains instead.
Oh, no. Nope.
No. We just
So-
met? Mm-hmm. No.
Nope.
Yeah. So I was skeptical, but accepted. I texted my friends who I was with and what they were wearing and his car just in case. So it's like sunset, going to be dark, and they're going to
No.
go explore some mountains.
No.
Okay.
No.
No.
We are
No, the mountains are closed at this time of night. They actually.
not 24 hours.
That
yeah.
probably
the
would have
sign's
worked
been
on.
flipped,
That would have worked
yeah.
on the stone guy. I think
Yeah.
you probably could have said that, and he would have
Oh,
bought that.
no, I'm sorry. It's closed.
It's closed. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, darn it.
Can't go.
So we're driving up, and he says, oh, by the way, I'm a demonologist.
And get out.
Absolutely
She's on a date with Ed
not.
Warren. Great. Fantastic. That is not
Absolutely
information
not.
you drop casually on the way to the mountains at night.
I was like, gulp, cool.
Cool.
It's dark out. Not really much convo because I was out after the demonologist thing. He turns to me and says, have you ever sat on your balls before?
I'm sorry,
Is
what?
he stoned?
I'm sorry, what?
I turn and look at him with a raised eyebrow. He says, oh, yeah, wait. I forgot girls don't have balls. Face
Wait.
bomb.
How hot is this guy?
So-
Is he really hot?
Hi.
Because I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I forgot girls don't. No, you didn't.
No. Why?
No.
What? We get to the mountains, and he's like, a lot of people hang themselves on this path. The rangers have to go through every morning to collect the bodies. By the way,
get the fuck outta
if
here.
you see a deer, that's a bad sign, and I will literally run. So I was thinking,
He's like, fair warning, I will leave your ass here.
I was thinking, dear Lord, please let us see some deer.
Thank you. I'm like, deer. It's a deer.
Like on the end of the path, it was a giant mountain cave. I did not want to be in.
No caves. No caves at nighttime with demonologists.
No.
No.
Who asked you
No.
about sitting
About
on
your
your balls?
No.
So we see a deer and he screams and takes off. I do too, because that's my ride.
This cannot be real.
Sir.
Like, this person cannot be
Fever
real.
dream. This is a fever dream.
We finally get to his place and he's like, so you want to watch a movie? I said, nope,
No.
I'm good. And I get in my car and leave. No conversations in following months except for one text where he offered me money to have sex with him. The end.
How much money?
There's not enough.
There's not enough.
No,
With the
there's not.
demonologist?
This guy, yeah,
Nah,
no.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Whoa. Happy Halloween. Stay safe out there. Check your
Yikes.
candy. So
Oh my God.
Check your balls.
and check your balls.
Make sure you're not sitting on your balls.
That's right.
Ladies, make
Does
sure
that
you're not
hurt?
sitting on
Do they sometimes sit on them? Do you think?
I
I
imagine
think
it's
when you get
possible.
older, men's balls start to sag more, and it is more likely, I believe. No, I'm not a doctor, but I do believe.
What if
That
you were a
you could-
doctor and we didn't know that all these years?
Oh my God. Yeah.
That'd be
Got my-
awesome. I'd be like, I have
Surprise,
a bump.
ladies.
I have a bump on the back of my knee. Will you look at it?
It's just it's a benign tumor. No big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but listeners, let us know. Yeah, is that a common issue?
Yeah.
Sitting on your balls.
Sitting
Should
on
I
your
ask
balls.
Chris?
It has to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd
right.
like to know. I need to
Let's
know
take
more.
5 and I'll go ask Chris if he sits on his balls ever.
Okay.
Perfect.
Be right back.
Okay.
And we're back. And from the research I've done, the poll that I just did with one
The poll of
singular
one person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. I don't know the statistical significance of the findings, but
Yeah.
you know, we'll go with it.
Yeah. This wouldn't hold up in my statistics class, that's for sure. However, he did say, he kind of was like, I don't think it's ever happened to me. He's like, the way that balls are positioned, they're pretty forward. So it would have to be
Oh.
very large or
Smart evolutionary.
very saggy.
Okay.
For that to happen.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And again,
Right.
based off of my very intensive, deep research.
Well, we have some male listeners.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Let us know. Let us know. I mean, gravity be gravity and whatnot,
Well,
you know?
yeah, they really would have to be very, very saggy.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Well, now we're gonna have some listeners who are like, I sit on my balls, and now we're
Okay,
giving them
yeah.
a complex.
And
Oh,
this
about
is
no.
outside my realm of experience,
Truly,
so I will
truly.
not speak to it.
Yeah. Listen, like I said, this is not fully, tried and true scientific research here, but
Okay, well, I have the Tainted Love this week, and we're gonna shift gears a little
Okay.
bit because this story's a bummer. And to
are you
kind
saying
of
that
give you-
sitting on your balls is not a bummer?
I mean, I bet it is, but
Yeah.
in a different way.
Got it.
And to give you an idea of how this Tainted Love might be different from other ones that we've done in the past, I did watch an episode of Unsolved Mysteries.
Whoa, the new one or
About
an old one?
The new one.
Okay, I
The new
was gonna
one.
say
I've watched
Bobby
all of them
Stack.
except for the last 4, which are all alien
Yeah.
based. So if it's one of those, then this is all
It's
new.
not.
for
So
me.
you probably
Okay.
know this one.
Okay.
I haven't seen it yet.
And I originally saw it on TikTok.
Ooh, okay.
So I saw it on TikTok. I got curious about it and decided to do it. So
all right.
this is the murder of David Carter. So David Carter was born in 1979, and in 2018, he was living in Melvindale, Michigan, which is a suburb of Detroit. He had a full-time job as at an automotive plant, as well as running a casual clothing business called Lavish Habits Unlimited on the side. And he also volunteered for the Melvindale Junior Football League. He was described by those who knew him as serious but fun-loving. He was handsome, athletic, tall, smart. He had a great relationship with his family. He was especially close to his father, Elton, and his sister, Tasia, who described David as her best friend.
Oh.
He seemed like a great big brother to Tasia, who would call him for advice. He was a really hard worker. He had his life together. He was the kind of guy, I got the impression that there are two kinds of guys who get along better with women.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like one's good and one's not good. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And he kind of gives me the vibe of just like he got along really well with women. His best friend, Angela Curry, best friend since childhood, was a woman. He had a really good relationship with his sister. Like, I just think that, not in a creepy way.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So his best friend maintained that David was a stand-up guy who always wanted to get married and start a family. So when he was around 20, David met 19-year-old Samia Connor, and she said that she liked David from the moment that the two met. About 2 years into dating, the couple had a child, a boy they named David Jr., but they would call him DJ. And Samia recalls how excited David was to become a father. And after she gave birth in the hospital, David ran out into the hallway and was screaming, "I have a boy." Oh. So he was just like, he really excited to be a dad, even at 20, which is young. David adored his son. He was the center of his world. They had a really, really close bond, and they maintained that bond even after David and Samia split in 2014. And speaking of good co-parenting, they had a really, really great co-parenting relationship. They showed up to all of DJ's football games together. They still saw each other regularly. They split custody. Like, it seemed like a very healthy relationship. David went on to date several women, but in March of 2018, he brought a new woman to meet his sister. And this woman was Tammy Williams. And she had gone to high school with David and Angela. She actually graduated in the same class as Angela and David, but they had lost touch and recently reconnected at a mutual friend's birthday party. So Tammy worked as a phlebotomist for the Detroit Medical Center. I had to look that up. It's like someone who takes blood.
Yeah.
Great.
Basically. Yeah. And she had previously worked as a travel agent, and she had 18-year-old twins, a son and a daughter.
Oh, wow.
So Tasia didn't really get the match. She didn't really like them together. She wasn't the only one. Like, Angela didn't say that she didn't like them together, but she said that the pairing was a brow raiser. She was like, it just didn't seem to make sense. But David seemed happy. So whatever. Like,
did they give a reason why it didn't? Or they just
not really. Like they just they just didn't seem like a good match. They just didn't seem like a good pair. I don't think that they were really close in high school or anything.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they like really ran in the same circles.
Okay.
Like physically, I think that they looked good together. Like they're, both good looking people. But the two got pretty serious pretty quickly, and they were spending pretty much every single day together. They were spending a ton of time together. So Tasia says that she never liked Tammy for her brother, and that she, along with their father Elton, found Tammy to be like weirdly controlling and possessive. And Tasia went so far as to say that Tammy was obsessed with David. And Elton mentioned that anytime there were like family gatherings, Tammy kept an eye on David, especially if he was talking to other women. Like she was just jealous.
Super jealous, yeah.
gatherings.
Right. I'm like, for real.
There are not a lot of available
Options.
singles.
Right.
right. I'm like, it's
Well,
Thanksgiving.
Maybe
What?
a sister-in-law. No, okay.
No, okay.
Sorry.
Oh no. Oh no. Here we go.
Still, David's son DJ seemed like Tammy was all right. He was like, she's fine. And she seems to make dad happy. He had the impression that the two might get engaged because I think this was kind of the most long-term. They were dating for about 6 months. And I think that was the most long-term, consistent kind of relationship that he'd had since him and his dad and his mom had split. So in 2018, DJ was 16, and like I said, his parents shared custody. And on the evening of Sunday, September 30th, DJ was preparing to head over to his dad's for the evening as planned. when his mom, Samia, received a text from David stating that he had a cold. He's like, I have a cold. I can't shake it. I'm throwing up. I've lost my voice. I don't think it's a good idea for DJ to come spend the night. So DJ's worried about his dad. He tries to call him. His dad doesn't pick up. And then David texts him and says that he couldn't pick up because he lost his voice. So and that he didn't want to see anybody. He's like, I'm sick. I don't have a voice. I don't want to see anyone. So DJ accepts that he's not going to be staying the night at his dad's house. So he makes plans. I'm guessing his mom must have had plans that night. So he makes plans to stay at his grandma's. But before going to his grandma's, he needs to pick up some things at his dad's house. So he's like, I'm going to swing by dad's, grab a few things, and then head to grandma's. So he arrives at the apartment complex. And when he arrives, he sees Tammy taking the trash out. So he gets out of the car. He says hey to her, just casual and normal. She doesn't say anything to him. And so he's like, okay. So he keeps walking to the apartment. And as he's walking to the apartment, he sees her run past him. So she sprints past him.
Don't be suspicious.
And goes into the apartment. He's like, well, that's fucking weird, but whatever. She's being weird. And then he gets to the door and he assumes that like she saw me. She's going to leave the door unlocked so that I can come in. Oh. But the door is locked. But he's got a key. So again, he's like, whatever. Maybe it was like instinct. She just locked the door. So he unlocks the door. He goes in and she greets him at the door, like in the hallway, like at the door, and is like, hey, what's up? What's going on? What do you need? Kind of just like she hadn't just seen him outside.
Yeah.
Right.
Oof.
Right. So again, he's finding this a little unusual, but he's like, hey, I just need to like pick up my charger. Have you seen my charger? She's like, I haven't seen it. So he's like moving around the apartment trying to find some things. And he notices that the door to his dad's bedroom is closed, which is unusual. He never leaves his door closed. And while he's looking around, Tammy closes the bathroom door. And he's like, that is also weird, but fucking whatever. So he goes into his bedroom and he notices that all of his dad's laundry is on his bed. And he's like, that is also weird. I don't know why he would put his laundry in here. And he has his own bathroom that's off of his bedroom. And he's noticing that there's gloves and cleaning supplies in his bathroom.
Don't love that.
All of this is just strange, but it's not, I don't think, like strange enough. Like you can't really pinpoint like what it is. It's
I
just
would
like, this
feel
is just weird.
very uneasy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
I'd be like, I need to get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Honestly.
Well, he gets what he needs from his room. And then he's like, hey, can I just like go in and check on my dad? Like say hey to him. And he's like, and Tammy says, oh, your dad's not here. He's on a walk. And DJ's like, it's cold. It's drizzling. He has a cold.
Yeah.
He's sick. Like, why would he be going on a walk right now?
Right.
So he kind of like tries to buy some time to see if his dad was going to come home. And eventually is just like, okay, well, I've got to go. I've got to get to my grandma's. So he just leaves.
Luckily alive.
Right.
So, okay. So that was on Sunday, the 30th. A few days earlier, on Thursday, the 27th, David's friend of 19 years and coworker Roger notices that David had not come into work. So the shift that David missed was double time. So it would have been like double time pay.
Yeah. You're not going to be missing that money.
Right. It's already unusual for David to not show up to work and not tell him or their boss, but you're also missing a shift that he would not normally have missed.
Right.
Right.
So by Tuesday, October 2nd, David had not shown up to work for 3 days and would not pick up the phone. So Roger calls Tasia, who also tries to call David to no avail. So Tasia then calls Tammy, who says, I haven't seen David since Sunday. I have no idea where he is. So Tasia and her husband, Derek, go over to David's apartment. His car is still in the parking lot. So they knock on the door, but no one answers. And then Derek grabs the door handle and the apartment's unlocked. And so that freaks them out. They don't even enter.
Yeah.
Like, because they're like,
Right.
he never leaves his apartment unlocked like this.
911.
So, yeah. So they call the police and they call Elton, David's father, and Samia as well. This might be Samaya. I'm not remembering how it's pronounced, so forgive me if it's incorrect. So they called the Melvindale Police Department and they send an officer over. The officer goes in first. He looks around. He comes out. He's like, David's not here. Everything looks fine. The apartment looks clean. So the family's like, okay, well, if everything looks okay in there, can we go in and look around? And they're like, yeah, sure, go ahead. So upon entering David's bedroom, they immediately felt like something was off. The bed wasn't made. And David was, according to Samia and his family, David always made the bed. He was obsessive about it. He was like kind of a neat freak. He didn't leave the house without making the bed. And when Tasia looked under the bed, she noticed a red stain on the carpet and a bottle of peroxide. And she also noticed that the indentations in the carpet showed that the bed had been moved to cover the stain. So Samia pulled the comforter off of the bed and found what appeared to be blood on the mattress. And at the top of the mattress was a hole. And Elton, who had served in the military,
was like, that's a fucking bullet hole.
They found another hole on the left-hand corner of the closet door. And Elton is like, that's a bullet hole.
Yeah.
Like, I recognize it. So he's like, Dad is smart. He's like, we need to get out of the apartment. Don't touch anything. So they tell the officer what they saw, but the officer is basically all fucking shoulders and is like, it's probably fine. So the family takes it upon themselves. They call jails, hospitals, morgues, and they also go into the Melvindale Police Department and file a missing person report.
There you go.
So luckily, the officers at the police department took their claims more seriously. They sent officers to David's apartment where they taped it off. They searched both it and the dumpster outside, even going so far as to have the state crime lab come and collect evidence. So they took it seriously from the jump. Well, not that one officer, but the other ones, apparently.
Okay. He's like, my shift's almost over.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with this paperwork.
Yes.
Exactly. In the meantime, the family gets on social media. They're pleading for anyone who knows anything about David's whereabouts to come forward. Tasia calls Tammy again. Tasia already doesn't like this bitch. She calls Tammy and she's like, one more time. Where is my brother? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
And she maintains, she's like, I haven't seen him since Sunday. I have no idea where he could be. But according to Tasia, she seems really oddly calm. And she just hangs up the phone with Tasia, goes about her day as normal. Like,
ooh, I'd be furious. I'd be like, I need to know your timeline. And if you don't give it to me, the cops are on their way to get it from you.
Yeah, because even if that was true, she hadn't seen him since Sunday. She doesn't know where he is. If this is someone you're in a relationship with,
right,
and you're not worried, like she's not joining in she's not asking. She didn't call the family to ask about David.
Yeah.
She's not joining in the searches.
Yeah.
Like she's just going about her life.
Yeah.
Like normal. That's it bizarre. So meanwhile, on Monday, October 1st, so one day after DJ visited his father's apartment and one day before he was reported missing, grass mowers for the Ohio Department of Transportation discover a sleeping bag in the weeds next to Interstate 75. So it's 100 miles from David's home. And one of the, Matt Clay of the Ohio Department of Transportation, he picks up the bag and he realizes that it's heavy. These people, I have to commend them because like he picks that bag up. He's like, this thing is heavy. 911.
Yep.
Like he calls the police right away. He
Good.
doesn't
try and open it. He doesn't try and see what's inside it. He's like, no.
No, because you know what? You don't want to know. You know what I mean? Let other people know that.
He's like, I'm Department of Transportation.
This
is outside of my purview.
He's like, I'm
not dealing with this. So an Ohio State trooper arrives. Content warning for just how awful this is. But he arrives, he opens the sleeping bag. Inside was the dismembered lower half of a body.
Oh, geez.
So basically from just below the belly button down. So that part of like the buttocks and legs. And that's it. And it had been severed. And the coroner believed that it was the body of a black or biracial male and that his inseam measured 36 inches. So it was a pretty tall person. So that's what they had to go on. As well as the fact that there was a tattoo of a pit bull on the upper thigh. So they report when the Melvindale Police Department hears that this body has been found, they realize that it matches the description of David, and they ask the Ohio authorities to send a picture of the tattoo. So they send a picture. The police show Elton, David's father, the picture.
Oh, geez.
Which is,
You're hoping that they zoomed in on just the tattoo.
I would hope so.
I
would
think,
really hope so,
think that would be fucking awful.
I mean, either way, just knowing that,
yes.
just horrible. But yes, I would hope that that's what they did. So 2 days later, DNA. So Elton does say, yes, I recognize that tattoo. And then 2 days later, it's confirmed with DNA that the body parts that were found belong to 39-year-old David Carter. 39. The family was obviously devastated, and you can see it when you watch Unsolved Mysteries. I mean, like their hearts are broken.
Yeah.
But especially DJ.
Yeah.
Of course. Like this is his dad. The entire family, including DJ, immediately suspect Tammy.
Yeah, I've been suspecting too. Yeah.
Not only was she the last person who had seen David, but according to both Tasia and Samia, David had grown tired of Tammy's possessiveness. She began inviting herself over more and more to his place. She rarely left his apartment. Like, he's like, I don't have any alone time. She's always here. And Tasia recalled that weeks before the murder, David, this might answer your question about those family gatherings. David had taken a female cousin of his out to see a movie, and he returned to his apartment to find all of his tires slashed.
Wow.
He suspected that Tammy had done it because she was jealous that he took his cousin to the movies instead of her.
It's his cousin.
Yeah. Like, what is this?
Weird.
What is this? A fucking
she's just
My Sweet Audrina?
Yeah, this is V.C. Andrews.
Flowers
book.
in the attic.
But like, she's just jealous of every woman in his life, like in his orbit.
That's weird.
Just days before September 30th, the family had gathered at DJ's football game. Tasia, Elton, and Samia were there along with David and Tammy. And Tasia noticed that David sat with his family and Tammy sat alone a few rows behind them.
Oh, that's creepy. Weird and creepy.
And when she asked David if everything was okay, David replied, Tammy would be all right. And the couple did not speak that whole evening. And it was later confirmed that the two had an argument before heading out to the game, which I'm like, why did she even go then?
Yeah,
exactly. Why'd you even come?
You know? Because you want to keep an eye on him,
awkward.
right? That's the only reason I can think of.
Absolutely.
Yikes.
September 29th was the last time Tasia spoke to her brother. He had called at 10:30 p.m. asking if she could edit a video of DJ's game so that he could post it on social media, which I think is just the sweetest. Like, he's just a proud dad.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be at work at 5 a.m. the next day, and that's the day he didn't show up. So Tasia suspects that David attempted to end things with Tammy that evening, and that's when the murder took place. David's friend Roger also confirmed that David had been wanting to end things with Tammy for a while, but every time he tried, she would fly into a rage.
Yeah.
So
she
he just
let him.
Right. So he just would back down because he's just like, I can't handle this, you know. So 4 days after the murder, just 4 days after, DJ has a football game and everybody is like, you don't have to do it. Like, you don't have to go. But DJ's like, no, my dad always told me that you keep going no matter what happens. So I'm going to play this football game. And his whole family shows up. Like, everybody in the town is like super supportive of him. And their team wins 64-0.
Wow.
So during that game, Elton receives a call from the police stating that they had arrested Tammy. So this was great news.
Yeah. They won the football game. The killer's arrested.
Mm-hmm. But 3 days later, on Monday, October 8th, Tammy's released. So according to someone on the U.S. Marshals task force, on Friday, October 5th, Tammy was brought in to the police department for questioning. They were only allowed to hold her for 72 hours unless they charged her. And at that time, they felt like they didn't have enough evidence. They wanted to locate the rest of David's remains and determine the cause of death. So Elton says that Tammy's release was like a kick to the stomach for him, because he's like, oh, we had her, you know?
But yeah, if she stayed quiet and they didn't have anything concrete, you know, and now I'm guessing she up and left, because it be unsolved mystery. So Tammy in the wind.
So 2 days after Tammy's release, David's severed head was located in a small duffel bag a few miles north of where his lower half had been found. And 6 days after that, the rest of his remains were found wrapped in a comforter and placed in a large suitcase. Now that his entire body was located, they were able to determine that David died of a gunshot wound to the back of the head at very close range.
It's an execution.
Yeah, there was no evidence of defensive wounds, and antihistamines were found in David's system, which would have made him sleepy.
Yep.
So mercifully, they do believe that his death was quick,
instant. Yeah,
and pretty painless. So Tammy had a key to David's apartment, and it's theorized that she may have come in while he was asleep already and just shot him in the back of the head in his bed. And it's believed, of course, that he sent the texts to Samia and DJ from David's phone, knowing that DJ was due to spend time at his dad's that weekend. So she's trying to get ahead of it. According to the coroner, David's body was dismembered. Okay. Again, content warning, because this is awful. Like anytime you're talking about dismemberment, his body was dismembered using an average kitchen knife.
Oh my God.
Oh,
So
that
it-
makes me... bleh.
Right. So it would have taken days because of the level of difficulty involved.
Oh my God.
So it's theorized that Tammy shot David in the back of the head, dismembered his body, purchased the items his body was later found in, drove and scattered his remains along I-75, and then woke up and went to work the rest of the week like nothing happened.
What the fuck?
As his family held a memorial for David on October 27th. On December 20th, the police issued a warrant for Tammy's arrest. They charged her with first-degree homicide, dismemberment, tampering with evidence, and felony firearms. However, she was nowhere to be found.
Up and left. Yep.
So Tammy had gone on the run. The U.S. Marshals were called in to help search for Tammy, who they considered to be armed and dangerous because they had never found the gun that was used to kill David.
Did they get Tommy Lee Jones?
To find him.
Yeah.
Fugitive. Shortly after Tammy was released on October 8th, 2018, she made several phone calls to family members. On October 16th, the same day David's upper torso was found, she was seen in Ann Arbor, Michigan. According to credit card receipts, she made several large cash withdrawals from a bar's ATM, and then the camera also recorded her eating at a restaurant. The next morning, she was seen at the train station in Ann Arbor and took an Amtrak to Chicago. She then took a train to Penn Station in New York City, and while there, she checked into the Neptune Hotel in Brooklyn. And at that point, she used her real name because like no one was looking for her. She paid for the room in cash. And the next morning, she's seen leaving the hotel and has not been seen since.
Whoa.
The family, who did not learn that Tammy was on the run, David's family, until January. So a whole month went by from the time they issued the warrant to the time they informed the family that they couldn't find her. They were obviously further devastated by this news. They're like, why wasn't anybody keeping an eye on her? David's mother, Marie, had been diagnosed with cancer just 6 days before David's murder, and she was so heartbroken that she stopped her treatments. And
Jeez.
she passed away in January of 2020.
Oh, man.
So I will post pictures of Tammy on our Instagram and website. But
your eyes
this is why I
peeled.
wanted to do this. Huh?
I said, keep your eyes peeled.
Exactly. And this is why I wanted to do this story. I don't think enough people know about it, and you can't ever get her information out there enough. So she's between 5'5" and 5'9". She weighs approximately 180 to 200 pounds. She has brown eyes. She was last seen with short brown hair and blonde highlights, but she's known to change her appearance quite often. She has a very distinctive rose tattoo that covers the majority of her upper part of her arm. She's an experienced world traveler and has been known to frequent other countries. She also has relatives in New York and Atlanta, Georgia, and investigators did receive a tip in February of 2019 that she was seen in Atlanta. Her family has claimed that they are not helping her, that they have not seen or heard from her, but authorities do not believe them.
Yeah.
They believe that they have been helping her financially. Tammy's mother, Verdine Day, who was once named the Detroit Firefighter of the Year, was sentenced in 2022 for embezzling over $200,000 while serving as the treasurer of the Detroit Firefighters Association. So they believe that she used that money to help fund her daughter's life as a fugitive. She was also, and there's a lot of conspiracy theories around this, she was also a member of the Order of the Eastern Star, which is a Masonic order. Basically, it's like a co-ed Masonic order where like families of Masons or female family members of Masons can join. And so there's, of course, a ton of conspiracy theories around that. But authorities do think that it is possible because it is kind of like a fraternal organization that
she's
other members
help.
could be helping her with or without knowing that she's a fugitive.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, especially if the case is not widely known. It's not like Nancy Grace reported on this or, that kind of thing. So you'd be like, oh, Tammy, what's up? Oh, yeah, Eastern Star? Yeah, what's
Oh, yeah, you're down on your luck. You need a little help. You need somewhere to stay.
Yeah.
A little bit of money.
Exactly.
In September of 2023, Williams was moved to the top of 15 most wanted fugitives. And the reward for information leading to her arrest has been up to $25,000. So anyone with information on her whereabouts are urged to contact the U.S. Marshals 24-hour tip line. It's 1-800-WANTED-2 or their online tip line service. So I will put those things on the website as well. But yeah, I'm just so devastated for this family to know that something so horrific, because that murder is so horrific, and to know that that can happen to your family member and the person just disappears.
Right.
And has been gone for years. I mean, she's been gone since 2018.
Yeah.
It's a long time to like be in the wind and to not have any justice at all. So, we are pre-recording, so maybe in the next 2 weeks, someone finds Tammy.
Well, and especially now it's a Netflix series. You know what I mean? It'll be a lot harder for this bitch to hide.
She was also featured on America's Most Wanted.
Good.
So,
and again, she'll be featured in our show notes or in our
exactly on the biggest one of all.
Yes. The most important one. But yes, we will post her picture. So please go take a look at it, especially if you're in any of those areas that we talked about, New York, Atlanta. Please look and just see if you recognize her, because that family deserves justice. 2, somebody who's capable of doing something like this so coldly is a very scary, very dangerous person. So, and also shame on her family if they did assist her in fleeing, because
that ain't right.
Wouldn't be me. I love my family, still wouldn't be me.
Right. No, isn't there another doc on Max or something like that about another woman who was who
killed her husband?
Yeah, and another person while she was on the run.
It's like I'm Not a Monster or something like that. I want to watch that.
Yeah, I put it on my list. But
so wait, Tammy's last name again is
Williams.
Oh well, that's
I know.
Rare.
Tammy with a Y. My mom is a Tammy with an IE. She does not claim her.
That's right.
So.
I'm looking her up right now.
No, that was no. It's good to bring awareness to something like that, especially if somebody's dangerous out there. That's man, because like you said, it's one thing. His like actual death, luckily, was super quick. But I mean, we've talked about Robert Durst before, and like I think if you are capable of doing something that depraved, I just don't think.
Kitchen knife.
Yeah, that's
and
gross.
Then also like my heart breaks for DJ knowing that now that we know it's like he was in the house and
he's
his
lucky
dad's
he's alive.
Body. Yes, he is. He's lucky that he didn't
really
push
lucky.
it and he just, didn't fight.
Was able to
and just left. Yeah. But I can't imagine living with that, like knowing that you were in the house with the person who killed your dad and his body was in the other room. Like just horrible.
That's a nightmare. Oof. Well, what are you guys watching this week?
I have. I just watched the Anna Kendrick movie. Girl of the Hour.
Dude, that trailer for that.
It's Richard,
scares.
not Richard Ramirez. It's Akala.
Yes.
Rodney Akala.
Rodney. When she's walking in the parking lot or whatever, and he's like, "You don't remember the number you gave me?" I'm like,
Oh, girl.
"Oh my god, dude, chills!" Because we've all had.
We've
that
all been there.
moment where you're
I've
like,
left a bar before after giving someone a fake
like,
number. Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable and I have to leave now. But that trailer scared me.
Yeah.
How did you watch that scary movie?
It's not scary. It's just
not?
it's true crime. I mean, so
Okay.
it's different for me. It sits in a different window. I will say though, like having watched the deep dive that 2020 did, the dating game killer deep dive, that was he is a fucking frightening person.
Yeah. There's a great
Yeah.
podcast series about him as well. I don't remember what it's called, but they really, really detail everything. It's like a 5 or 7 part series, and they detail everything. And that man is scary.
It's frightening.
Scary.
I will say though that like it doesn't. Again, comparatively, because I had watched the really intense 2020 full documentaries on it, so it felt. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say how it felt to watch it because it was like, did that really happen? It felt very fictionalized, very stylized version.
I got that sense from what I saw. So it's very shiny.
Yeah, and
for
I
something
mean
that's so ugly.
Exactly. And there's this kind of like this one little tiny thing that he did one day of his life when going on this show.
And they're making the movie around that versus like, okay, yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's
and
a
I
good
mean,
point.
I think, I mean, they do show other victims of his. So it does, I don't know. I'm
You weren't a fan.
I'm undecided on how I feel about it. It's going to be one of those movies that like I have to sit with for maybe a couple days to feel like I've made a decision. And I at first glance, I don't. Yeah, undecided.
Yeah, no, that's good because I've been kind of on the fence about watching it.
Yeah.
I've been of two minds about it, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I did tell you guys earlier, but I did watch Ali Wong's special because I am not a jealous girlfriend.
Are they still dating?
Yeah, they are.
Oh,
He
good.
comes out at the end.
Oh, good.
And they
Christina's like, I'm fine with it. It's fine.
It's fine.
I feel
it's
totally
completely
okay.
fine. And like the main punchline at the end concerns their relationship, and it was actually quite good and cute. And I'm cheering for them.
Oh,
so.
good. Yay.
There you
Okay.
go. Yeah, but I thought it was pretty funny. I'm an
Okay.
Ali Wong fan.
I am
Same.
too. I like her.
Same.
She's funny.
The new special is really funny, talking about being single, you know, as a woman in your late 30s or early 40s, what it's like to date. It was really good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I've been watching Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Oh,
That was the next one that people were like, you got to watch this one. This franchise
Yeah.
is going to be studied by sociologists in the future.
probably already is.
It is so wild because you get used to a certain franchise. Like I was watching New York, you get used to the weird shit that happens on
So
that
true.
show and like how weird those personalities are. And then you start watching another city and you're like, these women are equally batshit, but in like a completely different way.
Yeah.
Like a completely different way. And it is, you can't measure like which is weirder. It's just
This is the one with the person dating their grandpa.
Mar-
right?
That
Married.
is so fucking
Married.
bonkers.
her step grandpa, and that her name is Mary, and she is. Sometimes I wonder. I'm like I don't want to armchair diagnose anybody, but I'm just like I think she's diagnosable. Like she's
Yeah.
not Right. Like her behavior is weird. Is like super fucking weird.
Yeah.
And then you've got like Jen Shaw, who I know is now in jail. She was like convicted of something. And like she goes 0 to 100. And I'm like, are you in anger management? Like they find how Andy Cohen has managed to find the most insane rich ladies from any given state.
Wow.
And put
Some
them in a
people have
house
too
together.
much.
Like it's
truly
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they're so disconnected from reality, and they've been sheltered in this cocoon of money for too long.
How much does a banana cost, Michael? $10?
$10. Yeah, there's one who has like a straight up like transatlantic accent. And I'm like, it's just like the way that she's Meredith Marks. I'm like,
Yep.
Why do you talk like that?
What in the Katharine Hepburn is happening?
I watched the first like maybe 5 episodes of that first season, and I was like, I am out.
It gets bonkers very quickly. Like I will say that because I was texting our friend Jill about it because she's the one who told me to watch it, and I was like, I've never seen. Usually, when you watch Real Housewives, you know that like that first season, it's going to be a lot of introductions, a lot of warming up, a lot of
not any of the big blowouts.
They get into conflict immediately and stay there.
Wow.
And you're just like, I've not seen so much conflict over dumb shit. Like it's always over dumb shit.
Always.
Like Jen Shaw is crying in the first episode because Mary said that her house smelled like hospital. And I'm like, why? You're like a 48-year-old woman. Why are you freaking out about this?
I mean, I think that means it smells clean.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Or
said in a
bedpans.
derogatory manner. However, but it's just like, guys.
Have you watched Potomac yet?
I've watched all of Potomac.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard that one's pretty.
The last season
wild.
was not good, but previous to that, oh yeah. Potomac. I loved Potomac. I thought Potomac was great. But yeah, Salt Lake City, I mean, it's an interesting place and it has interesting people.
Yeah.
So
all kinds.
it takes all kinds in this beautiful nation of ours.
This beautiful patchwork.
Which also I think, is this the last episode we have before? I think this is the last episode that will come out before voting day.
The big day.
Yeah. So make sure. So thoughts and prayers to everybody.
Yep.
You do what you need to do to take care of yourself on election night. Self-care is important.
Yeah. I mean, take
nervous.
November 6th off. I have put it into PTO because either way, I'm going to need a day to recuperate.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Stay safe out there.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a
if you
good call.
guys-
That's a good call. I might take off November 6th as well.
Yeah. I'm
That's a
just
good
going to be
idea.
up.
Maybe the
we
rest
have
of that
a-
week. I'm due
Yeah.
some vacation. So
Me and Steve Kornacki analyzing vote counts in Allegheny County. That's what we're doing late into the evening.
Yep.
But if you guys have something that we should watch, if you have a terrible date story, or if you just want to reach out and say, hey, what's up? Go to our one-stop shop of website. It's myworstdatepodcast.com. And we love you so much. Cheers.